There may be some times that Yah acts so decisively, so powerfully in the earth that we will wonder, is he even justified in acting this way? This Barry Phillips, a 10-minute Torah, day number 3, the double Torah portion, Matot Masei. We're now in Numbers, Bamidbar, chapter number 31. And again, we start with verse 1. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, take vengeance for the children of Israel on the Midianites. After that, you are to be gathered to your people. And Moshe spoke to the people, saying, arm some of yourselves for the campaign, and let them go out against the Midianites. Notice this phrase here, to take vengeance for Yahweh on Midian. This isn't Israel's vengeance, it's Yah's. Send 1,000 from each tribe of all the tribes of Israel for the campaign. So there were supplied from the tribes of Israel 1,000 from each tribe, 12,000 armed ones for the campaign. And Moshe sent them on the campaign, 1,000 from each tribe, and Pinchas, son of Eleazar, the priest, on the campaign with the set-apart utensils, and the trumpets were sounding in his hand. And they fought against the Midianites, as Yahweh commanded Moshe, and killed all the males. They killed all the men. A couple things preliminary before we get to the main thought here. One, again, is that this is Yah's vengeance, not Israel's. Now, Israel may have taken it personally that the Midianites, who were in fact blood relatives, a cousin through Abraham and Keturah, to themselves, that Yah had previously said, leave the Midianites and the Moabites alone. The Moabites are also relatives through Lot. So family doesn't always play nice together. This is Yah's vengeance. Then in verse 4 and verse 5, it says, send 1,000 from each tribe. And then in verse 5, it says 1,000 from each tribe. When things are repeated close in succession, oftentimes what is being indicated is that the resulting action is heavenly sanctioned, that this comes from the very throne of Yah. For example, when the young man Samuel was yet living in the house of Eli the high priest, he heard the voice of Yah, who called his name twice in succession, Shemuel, Shemuel, and finally he discerned that it was the voice of Yah and said, speak, your servant is listening. What Yah gave him then is judgment that had come from the throne. When Yeshua says, truly, truly, verily, verily, I say to you, he was double emphasizing to indicate this is a heavenly decree. This is heavenly truth. And so we see here then that this 1,000 from each tribe is sanctioned of Yah, 12,000 men to go against the not the Moabites, the Midianites. What this also says is that heaven will be working with them. You might think 12,000 men may not be enough. Yah's at this. This is the handiwork of Yah. And he is saying, I am going to bring about my vengeance through these 12,000 men, and my heavenly forces are going to work with them. I'm going to drive them out. Now let me ask you a very troubling question. What would the world say to a country invading another sovereign state, intentionally killing all males of every age, from the youngest to the eldest, which would then amount to genocide? Once the males are eradicated of a particular people, they cannot recreate such people. What if they continued on to kill every married and non-virginal woman, then taking all the young virgin girls as slaves, and then destroyed all the cities and all the properties of that people, and taking as war loot all of their flocks, their herds, and their valuables? That's what Yah was sanctioning. Kill every man. Kill every woman who's ever been with a man. Slay them. And you may take the young, non-married, virgin daughters for yourselves as slaves. Now, in actuality, isn't this very similar to what Nazi Germany did, or at least tried to do? When Yah acts with such vengeance, one might say, whoa, Yah, you're going overboard here. But let's look at this situation a second time and realize what's going on here. Am Israel is a people, a unique people, a set-apart people in all of the earth that is the result of a covenant between Yahweh and the man Abraham. And it was prophesied and decreed that through the seed of Abraham that the promised one from Bereshit or Genesis 3:15 would come forth. That seed, the seed of the woman. This seed had to come from a pure lineage, an undefiled people, in order to be able to bring about the redemption that was necessary for all mankind. This lineage had to continue then. Both Midian and Moab, both of which, again, Yah originally said, leave them alone. I'm not going to give you their land. They determined to act against Yah's people in such way as to fill them with lies and deceptions more than arms. They realized, we can't defeat you militarily. What we can do is deplete you spiritually, and then your own Elohim will destroy you. Balaam counseled them to seduce the men of Israel with Midianite and Moabite women. Sadly, men of Israel chose sex over covenant. It still happens. And they lost over 24,000 men as a result of that. Let's analyze this a little bit further. This means then that the Midianites and Moabite coalition created government-sanctioned prostitution of their own daughters for the purpose of engaging Yah's wrath on the men of Israel. Think about that. Government-sanctioned, government-promoted prostitution of their own daughters. This was not just a handful of women. This would have involved tens of thousands of women that would express their hatred of Israel so much that they would be willing to give themselves to their own enemies in order to seduce them to feast days and pagan worship around their own idols. In all reality, then, this is blatant witchcraft and sorcery. Those that are involved in the dark arts often are also involved in very sensual things. I'll be clean here. Yah's response is, wipe them out. The principle is, if you don't take this to the root and destroy it at the root, then it will continue to produce the fruit of deception and of lies and of sensuality and of seduction and paganism and false worship and the denial of me, which means that my people do not go in the land, and the fulfillment of my covenant with Abraham will not come to pass. So this is a major step. When Yah pours out his wrath upon the earth in great judgment, there may be times that we will shake our head in disbelief at the magnitude of the hand of Yah. But let's understand this. He knows what he's doing. And the end result of all things is to produce a righteous people of Elohim, Am Israel, living in the land just like the covenant promised. Let's pray for that day. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Till then, shalom.